Got quite a storm coming in. I think it's supposed to go northwest 40. About to head down to the boat, see if our tarps are still intact. I
guess we could grab some lumber for that, huh?
Might be a good idea. Head on down to the boat, get some supplies for reinforcing our shelter. Or later. It might be hard to string them up today. But yeah, I just want to show you guys. It's windy out. You can really hear the trees roaring today. Alright, guys, well, came down this morning. Our tarps were kind of flying wild. Pretty good windstorm. I think it was northwest 40. So, coming back and forth. Here behind Pillar Mountain. Over there, it either comes around and back up this way, or it comes through the north there. So I kind of just ripped up our shelter. Just ended up taking the back tarps down. Got some wood in the cart here. Gonna start framing up a more permanent shelter because it's gonna be a little bit longer of a project than we originally thought. So start getting some framing up here in a bit and get some of the white shrink wrap shelter material that you saw here. Nice day, just windy. Yeah, it's supposed to come up northeast 35 tomorrow night. So that'll bring rain and wind, and hopefully we're all buttoned up by then. So yeah, probably pull the rest of these tarps down. We plan on just wrapping the shelter all the way around the weather side right here, because it's always just rain from the east, northeast, mostly, for the most part, southeast, out in the Gulf. So we'll get these tarps down because they'll kind of just be in the way right now. And yeah, start putting up the other stuff. Just waiting for a gust to come through, but now the wind decides to lay down, so it's not near as windy as it was.
The boys have been busy getting frame put up around the shelter deck here, down the sides. Seeing as how the scope of our work has changed considerably since what we had initially planned, it's time to get this thing dried in a little bit better. Tarps are not going to cut it, not with winter coming on and fall equinox, so we get some pretty heavy winds this time of year, particularly out of the northwest, which should seem sheltered here, but if it's over, say usually about 35 or 40 knots, it actually comes out of the mountain pass over here towards the Buskin and comes back this way, and really rips across the bay right here. So that one tends to hammer the tarps pretty quick. Lots of storms coming that time of year. So yeah, we had pretty hard northwest the other day, and we started to dismantle our tarps. So we just rolled them up to where they didn't get completely destroyed, but that's just kind of a short solution, and we have way too much to do, way too much in-depth projects to be annoyed by having our tarps get tore up every time we get a good windstorm. So that being said, we just had a lot of like junk scrap lumber at home that we always save from this and that. Whenever we see some around for free or in the dumpster or whatever, we'll grab it knowing that we'll use it somewhere. This is actually a whole bunch that we got, gosh, years ago from one of the construction companies that had a bunch left over from some concrete forms. So we're actually finally putting it to use about 5 or 6 years later. So we're just getting everything framed up right now. And then we have some of the 7 mil plastic shrink. And this stuff is really, really tough. So it's 25 feet wide. We purchased about 20, I think I got 21 feet of it. So that'll be enough to cover the sides, the back, arch up there, and then up here too. And that stuff is really durable. It's like actually heat shrink, so once you get it kind of like stapled in place, you can go back in and shrink it up. It'll tighten it up like a drum, and it's pretty much impervious to wind as long as you don't have anywhere where the wind can get underneath it and start to rip it, pull it out. So just like tarps, key to them lasting is no flappage. So in the past, when we've done big projects on the fishtail, we usually just do the same thing, frame it up with wood, and then we'd either use webbing to go across and tarps, a clear plastic tarp underneath a blue tarp, and the clear plastic ones give you waterproof, and the tarps just kind of protect everything. But we don't have that much wood, so.
Yeah, and with the price of even thin sheathing now,
yeah,
don't have any of that anymore.
Yeah, plywood's too expensive nowadays. So the stuff that we'd used in the past on the fish towel, we actually recycled through a couple of different projects, but then it just was to the point where it was just too tore up and cut up to think about reusing anymore. So we picked some of this stuff up. Should get us through this project. It's possible we can recycle it and save it for next time. We'll try to anyways. But I think the price tag was about $100, I guess, about $450 a foot, and that's a 25-foot length. So a little bit on the spendy side, but definitely worth it, because once you're starting to do a fiberglass project, or you know, the scope of work that we're doing, we want it completely dried in, and we don't want to be distracted by leaks and moisture. We'll have an area set up right here to do some laminating on, and the last thing we want to do is come down here the next morning and find out our tarps failed and all of our equipment's wet, all of our fiberglass cloth and combi mat is wet. That's pretty much disaster for that. So I'm not sure if we'll get this up today or not. We got East 40 coming tomorrow. I already feel the wind picking up, so we might try and get this weather side done at least, and the other side's not such a big deal. And we got some fittings in the mail today for our tanks, so we can finally get the valves put on the starboard side, start pumping fuel back over from the port and filling it in. So yeah, we're making progress. Got all our fiberglass supplies ordered today. They'll be shipping that out of Seattle on the next barge, so that's good. A pretty big project coming up. Things are coming along. Lots of work to do, but still got some time. So we'll bring you back when we start putting up the big white tent and show you how it's done.
We're standing in this angle. We're just pulling the boat around outside the Emerald Isle here. Get our shelter up. So I spent the last couple of days getting our shelter framed up for a more permanent solution for over the winter. Got some of this plastic shrink wrap to put up around it. So that's what we're doing now. Got spun with fishtail around to tie up on the outside so we can easily put some staples and strips around the outside. Yeah, looks good, Dad. Yeah, perfect, actually.
It's turning real tight. Well, just like that looks good, huh?
Yeah. All right. Oh, a little bit easier than a painting platform. Water level. The fishtail here will be able to run our plastic around the outside, tuck it up inside behind these boards like this, and then put wooden strips on the outside of those to hold it tight.
Yeah. Should work out quite well, I think.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess, just go for it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we're ready on this piece. So. Stick it through, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Or probably over there will be easier.
It comes through like,
I mean, if we bring it to the outside, the fish will be easier then.
oh, yeah. Why not? Staple that on. So leave a little bit of that one. Just like that, huh?
Yeah, should I bring it around the back side of this?
I don't know that it really matters because there's going to be one overlap in it here anyways.
Yeah.
Do you think it matters which way we tuck this? I don't think it matters. So if you have that stapler, I'll just put a single staple in it here for the moment. Why don't you rip me a little piece of tape, just a piece of that tape. Just a little square of it to put the staple through. So just kind of hold this up a little bit, T, just to, not too much, but like it?
Pretty good.
All right, just screwing a slat in here to prevent the wind from getting underneath of this and slapping it all over the place. Nice to have a platform to work off of.
Yeah.
We have little painter's floats here in the harbor, but they're pretty sketchy.
We keep scooching around all over the place, I think.
Yeah. Moving them around is hard. You always see people rowing them around with plastic shovels that we use for ice. And that's a common thing. Tying them up is hard.
One strip down. The strips going up and down on these inside slats.
Why is that?
Keep it from flapping around.
Yeah.
And then this is heat shrink stuff, so we'll take a heat gun and heat the centers, I guess, and pull it tight.
Yeah.
Actually, know where the ideal place to heat it is. Would it be in the middle? So it just.
Yeah, I think you just put a little heat on there and just go around. Looks good. So, I wonder if it's best to put like a strip of that stuff down or some tape or. I don't know if it matters. I wonder if it's good to put a little piece of tape on there.
To like
I guess we just didn't, so. I have a feeling it probably doesn't matter much.
Looking at the sketchy ones in the boat yard,
Yeah.
I think it holds up pretty well.
I mean, this stuff it's 7 mil, which is like really thick.
Mm-hmm.
Like our fish bags are 4 mil. It's twice as thick.
It should be fine, right?
What's that?
This is tape. Dr. Shrink. Heat shrink tape. Whoa. Dr. Shrink.
Dr. Shrink.
Make sure it sticks good. Hold my hand against the inside. Okay. Actually, I have a couple boards. So.
Balancing act.
Hey.
This might just work, folks.
Potentially so.
I believe it will.
Oh yeah, right here. Yeah, okay. Could you hand me a knife right there, Tristan?
Mm-hmm. Here you go.
Cool.
You're not gonna smooth that flap. You're not gonna smooth that flap over.
Just a minute. Okay, I went over too far. Seems like pretty sticky tape. Hopefully it sticks up here good. What happened there? Wrinkle? No worries. Don't poke it. It'll be fine.
Now I'm just trimming up the tops to put tape on the side.
Yeah, it looks good. I think that's gonna work good.
Yeah. I think that'll hold, Dad.
I think so. Get that little nip right there. Oh, cut the other way. Cut from the bottom up. Right there. Yeah. So. Perfect.
We're making this as watertight as humanly possible because we're going to be having our glass stuff out here and don't be wanting it getting wet. You get water in your roll of cloth or something like that, it's probably just ruined.
It's ruined. Yeah.
That'd be an expensive mistake.
Yes, it would. We'll probably still cover it with plastic. That's what we did when we did our fishtail fish hold project. That one year we covered our rolls in plastic. They were against the back wall.
Yeah, to protect them, keep them dry, just in case any unforeseen accidents happen. And might even just like hang a sheet of plastic inside here too, to just act as a condensation barrier. Because this stuff is going to condensate and drip.
It's true.
So we might have to just hang a plastic sheet in here and TP it to the sides. I noticed your cut was extremely crooked, so I'm going to make a perfect cut. Whoa, look at that.
Get out of here.
That is a perfect cut.
Can't deny that. So we should do up there before we move the boat to the back, huh?
We should probably like at least get this wrapped around, or it's going to be flapping in the wind.
Oh, we just pull it in. Oh yeah. So just taking half a strip of duct tape here and wrapping the corners of this aluminum. Okay, keep the sharp edges from potentially cutting the plastic. If it does happen to flap around or anything, at least it won't chafe on them as quick.
Good idea.
Can't be too careful.
Like?
Yeah.
Not right there.
Right Ready?
There we go.
Yeah?
Yep. Okay, test that on a little piece. Here, test that on this little
I don't know
scrap.
how much heat to give it.
Test that on this little scrap. See what it does. That did tighten that up. Just needs more. Yes. See.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The unknown.
Get out the dragon's breath.
I think so. I don't know. Well, that's tighter, isn't it? There. We can clean it all up, though. Heating it unevenly, I don't know.
Oh, it's progress, huh?
Yeah,
Yep.
come along.
Getting there.
What's left after these?
Question. This little peak part right here in our big gray tarp.
Oh yeah.
And we'll get it tightened up and then we should be in pretty good shape. Guess that'll be next.
Chunks of
Cardboard, anti-chafing.
So where are those hunks for?
we'll put them on these chunks of wood so they don't chafe our white plastic that goes over the outside. Or actually, so they don't chafe our canvas tarp.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I think that we'll be in good shape here when the next storm comes along. At least I hope so.
Yeah, it seems like we should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Is that the last one?
One to go.
One more here, and then this bottom, and this is pretty well buttoned up over here, I think.
Oh yeah. Bring back after.
Yeah, once we start dealing with that tarp, I guess, huh?
Yeah. So we'll pull our tarp back and get it positioned, and then we can get that little bit of stuff put in there.
Yeah. Okay, just getting the little peak here dried in.
Couple more, or you good?
Yeah, a couple more.
like that kind of, huh?
Yeah.
Roughly. Yeah. So probably I'll go cut a little scrap for right here too, just for a little double, huh?
Show how it looks from up there.
How you guys look? So we'll bring that top tarp back over the back side of it, just like that. Should keep it pretty watertight, I hope.
Put some slats across it. Oh, I'm thinking something about like that, huh?
Yeah,
What do you think? That gonna work?
that should work.
Kind of work. Yeah,
That should work, huh?
I think so. It's just kind of like extra,
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, there's Mom way over there.
Kind of weird. I'm sure like a professional Christmas present wrapper would be in their glory right here, but that's not me.
Is Mom good at wrapping presents?
She is.
But she might be too short to reach.
Just trying to reinforce this as best we can, folks.
Got a long winter ahead of us.
Got a couple of months of work here and try and give this the best chance of survival possible. The wind is our enemy.
Can be
And
brutal.
flappage is what destroys tarps and coverings. So if the wind can't get a finger in anything, it loses.
Checkmate.
That's right. We are gonna run out of daylight here soon.
I know, we're like, we've spent our day. What happened?
And what kind of trouble are we in for tomorrow?
It's supposed to rain.
Rain? Yeah, I guess we just gotta get this tight then. As long as this is tight, we'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll just continue forward, but I think that can probably be, or do I need to get this pinned down over here first?
We'll get, yeah, let's get it pinned down. Okay, guys, so we're back down on the boat. The site you see now might be a little bit different than before. We've just been putting up a shelter. Our tarp one didn't hold out too good against our last Northwest 40 storm here, so
Yeah, it was fading quickly.
it did us the favor of removing it, I guess. The
We
tarps.
knew, we knew that it was gonna get ripped up, so
Yeah.
tarps are still good, just the grommets and stuff get pulled out of them.
Yep. Unless you fast
They're
them
just
down.
cheapo ones.
Unless you fast them down with strips of wood, pinch them in there, then they get torn up pretty quick if they have any sort of windage to them. So anyway, yeah, we spent the last few days getting this all framed up. We got some of this white plastic up yesterday. Got this whole side wrapped around over here in the corner there, and in the back over here. And a little bit windy last night, probably northwest 25, 30, something like that.
Yeah.
Not
it's
too
30
bad.
today here.
And it survived the night. So the plan today is to get the rest of it finished out.
Yeah, this plastic is really tough stuff. It's like 7 mil. It's shrink wrap, so I mean it's incredibly tough. So it'll hold up well. We need to still get this tightened up with some heat, but we'll do that once we finish up here. We should be in good shape for this project. So this is kind of like a long-term project type situation when you go through all this effort.
Yeah,
We have a lot of fiberglass work that we need to get done, and we don't want to worry about any storms driving in rain or snow or sleet or anything else when we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll also hold in a fair amount of heat by just getting out of the wind, and it'll be a little easier to heat. We might have to put some insulation back here. I think we have some fiberglass bats that from when our home was built, actually they're down in our crawl space, so we might dig those out and put these up in the wall back there and partition that small area off right there where we're gonna be doing some laminating, some foam panels. We'll see. Kind of depends on how cold it gets. You never know with our weather here in Kodiak what it's gonna do. But so far it's kind of cool this fall. So it might be a cold winter. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I already got snow on the mountaintops as of probably like a week ago.
Yeah, and Anchorage has a lot of snow. And so it's hard to say what's going to happen here. So we're just getting prepared as best we can. Yeah, this stuff will hold up well over the long term. So we got everything sealed up really good. We're sealed up around our mast. We shouldn't have any water leaking right here. Where these cords go up through, we created kind of like a drip loop. So we put our wires like this and taped them, and then we came back down like this, and then went over the top of it like that, so water can't come back up and over. So it's sealed up really well. We should be in good shape and keep this whole area dry, I think, other than probably a few drips here and there, which we may or may not get. It's hard to say.
Yep. We'll just deal with them when we get them.
Yeah. Yeah, from what we saw back there, that hay rack and everything was really watertight. There's no leaks on it. This covering that came with the boat is also in good shape. There's just like 1 or 2 tiny little pinholes here and there in it. So I think we'll be in good shape. Everything else is overlapped well and overlaps outside the bulwarks, and yeah. So it'll be good to get this all buttoned up today, get this last corner dried in, and in this front spot we put a door right there to get in and out. So I guess that's the task today.
Yeah.
And then you get tidied up a bit.
Yep. So, what you gonna do, Tristan?
I don't know. No, I'm just gonna take off these rails so that we can finish the framing like over there.
Nice. Yeah. Tristan was helping me the other day. We knocked that framing out. And, yeah, it turned out pretty good. So, I guess that's where we'll start. I'll get my top board in, and then we can start marking the boards, move our way forward. So, alrighty, let's get to work. Hey, what you got there?
Just taking out these 9/16.
Nice.
Oops.
Bloop.
Alright, you discovered.
Oh dear.
Of course, you'd have to be recording right then.
No worries. Know that impact driver sure makes quick work of it.
Yep.
we're not too worried about preserving these wooden bulwarks. As you can see, they're quite sad looking.
Yep, so a few people have asked what we're going to do in terms of railings and everything. The plan is to put on raised aluminum bulwarks, just like on the fishtail. We fabricated those, oh gosh, I think back in 2015 maybe.
Yeah.
And we'll do something very similar to that. I've got a couple of different kind of mock-ups done. Just Photoshop the image here, and with a couple of different variations of the bulwark. There's a couple different designs. I guess the guy can go with bring them down to the scuppers, to the rub rail like we did on the fishtail, or hold them up and come off the height of the rails right now. Invariably they'll be roughly the height of this rail right now, maybe just a touch shorter, and then we'll put some additional railing on here when we're doing like our crab and jig fisheries. But for this bigger vessel, we'll definitely be putting rails completely around it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get them done this winter. I don't know.
We'll just have to see.
Pretty big list of stuff to do right now, so
Yep.
it's a good chance that it won't get done until later on.
Yeah, like we don't have to do the bulwarks. If we just get arm rails up, then that'll be fine for our
at the
jig.
very least, we'll put some kind of
Side.
rails on here.
Yeah.
We can leave this hay rack on here when we jig.
Mm-hmm.
Probably take like these old rails here and just mount them in here. And just kind of modify what we have on hand. We're not too sure about that one, so we'll just have to play it out by ear.
You'll just have to use the open end bobsled, old school.
No way.
Back to basics, my friend. By the way, righty tighty, lefty loosey.
That's right.
Just making sure you know that.
Oh yeah. I was just being absent-minded at that point.
Don't bust your knuckles on that. Cold, hard aluminum.
Yeah, no, I was watching you do it, so it's just one of those things. It's like phasing out, not watching the direction.
It was a test.
Yep. I was testing him, that's right. Alright.
Well, got a little tidied up in here a little bit.
Yeah, looking better, Dad. Looking better.
Start getting some of our junk files out of here. Anyways.
Alrighty. Well, back to work. I didn't think these would come out easy. I had to really slam the other side too. See, the problem is these stainless bolts going through, and there's a piece of aluminum behind it, and also the rail, like as a spacer. So you got a double dose of oxidation.
Yep.
That's great. Uh-oh. Well, here's the socket.
That thing's poorly built.
That is poorly built.
That happened to me like 4 times.
I mean, it's a joke to put a detent on there with the ball bearing to hold it on, and then it doesn't even hold it on.
Yeah, because there's only one hole on one side of the socket. And even then, it pops out of it.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
No worries, T.
Yeah, it happened to me like 4 times, T, so. Here you go, grinder. Grind on it, or hit it? I guess hit it to free it first.
Yeah.
Oh, don't let me deprive you guys of your hard work.
By all means, T. All right. In the pile.
The pile.
Oh my God. Well, this rail might be in trouble. Windy out today, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, racket over there.
I know. Trying to pass us the noise.
Oh yeah, that was a battle. Holy moly, what a difference the shelter makes. It's chilly out today, standing in that wind over there.
Yeah.
Froze me.
Yeah. We'll just need cut.
Just cut
No
'em.
reason to struggle.
Yeah, very blustery day. It's a fall equinox, so first good winds of the fall coming through.
All right, well, rails off. Let's go home for a break.
I know, it must be lunchtime now.
It was exhausting watching you two work.
Yeah, so these rails are in pretty rough shape, guys, but we knew that going into this. No big surprise. He actually gave us some UHMW. He'd replace some of the stuff, just not all of it. But yeah, we knew what that stuff was like, so not like a hidden surprise. Nothing's really a hidden surprise. It's just the way it goes with boats. We get this framed up and get the rest of our wrap on here today and be able to rest easy.
Screw you.
Should be good to go. Plug these scuppers up with some fire. Keep the wind from blasting through there and blowing sawdust and fiberglass dust in our eyes. A few little things like that to button up and then it'll be good shape. Get back on our projects.